like to welcome everyone to the May 14, 2024 regularly scheduled Port Kent City Council meeting in the Linda Hartlab Chambers at Port Kent City Hall. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent reflection for those protecting us our
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Gilman. Present. Mark Phillips.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
Here.
Kelly Gangle.
Excused.
Pat Hovis.
Here.
Jerry Trolley.
Excused.
Kathy King.
Here.
Thank you. Council, you previously received the April 23, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam President, I move to approve the April 23rd minutes that are printed for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Gang. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King to approve the April 23, 2024 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding compliance with the rules and notifications of this meeting. Tonight, Chief Scott has a special presentation. Would you like to go ahead?
First, I want to thank council and the community for the support that you've always given the police department and the support you continue to give us. Our department's full of dedicated, hardworking men and women, and I stand before you tonight to honor two of them. On March 28th, a little after 9 p.m., Port Clinton Fire and EMS were dispatched to the Port Clinton Yacht Club for an unresponsive female that was not breathing. Officer Amy Pugh and Officer Robert Schreit were the first on scene. Officer Pugh immediately checked for a pulse on the patient who did not have a pulse and was not breathing at the time. She immediately started CPR, and they both worked on the patient until the squad arrived. Once on scene, Officer Pugh and Officer Schreit, I butcher his name every time. They continue to assist the EMS and helping the patient. After they let the patient's husband know where they were taking her, and they continued to help. Officer Schreit drove the squad so they could do uninterrupted, medical procedures on the patient. Officer Pugh escorted the squad so they could get there quicker. With the quick response and fast thinking of Officer Pugh and Officer Schreit, they were able to get a pulse back. They ended up life-flighting the patient to Toledo Hospital, and I was been informed that she made a full recovery. So if it wasn't for the two of them, probably more than likely she would not have survived. So on behalf of the Port Clinton Police Department and the City of Port Clinton, I would like to present Officer Pugh and Officer Schreit with life savings awards. If you guys want to step forward. Here's a certificate for both of you. And these awards are two pieces, so they're shrink wrapped. I don't want to take them apart for the face and stuff this separate. Thank you.
Speech.
Not one for speeches.
Dad, you want to get in that? Okay.
No speech, thank you.
No, thank you. You guys make me part
Yeah.
Very proud to be a part of this department, so.
Well, thank you, the police department, for everything, all your officers. They're always very helpful with everyone, and we're lucky to have a small community where everyone is so helpful. So, thank you. You are more than welcome to stay, but I know that you're on duty, so if you need to go, you can leave. So, but congratulations again, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Sorry if I destroyed that name too.
No, don't want to pronounce my name correctly or something.
I'll practice again tomorrow.
Probably.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have no public comments. We want to executive officers' reports. Council, tonight there are no new ordinances or resolutions, so we don't have anything to add. I guess that's all I have. So let the mayor have my extra time.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of council. First of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Ostheimer for all of her efforts today. As you all know, it was Government Day throughout the city offices and next door at the municipal court. She did a wonderful job organizing the kids and assigning them to the right folks and so forth. I was assigned Griffin Nelson, whose father is a member of the Port Clinton Police Department, and Conrad Ernst was Tracy Colston's shadow for the morning hours. We gave them a quick tour of all the facilities in town, and I had a good time. I think they learned a lot. For part of the excursion, we had a reporter riding with us, so that was a fun time all around. As you know, Larry Coleman, who's a frequent visitor to this evening's festivities, not here tonight, but he organizes the watering of the plants in the downtown area. Oh, he's over there. Hey, I didn't see it. Hey, Larry. How's it going over there?
He borrowed Tracy's hat.
He is in need of this is not necessarily directed to you in council, more to those listening on the interweb. He is in need of a volunteer to take over the Monday shift, if you will. They get to drive around town in a little gator and water all the plants and trees in the downtown area. Larry's phone number is 419-734-1112. Again, 419-734-1112. Give Larry a call or see him after the meeting tonight if you're in the room to sign up to work on Mondays throughout the summer. Council, as you saw in an email I sent out last Thursday, we opened up bids for the second project associated with the forward-looking infrastructure project. It was a bid opening for Plan A, the above ground, Phase 1. There were two bidders. They're currently being reviewed by Kleinfelder, the engineering firm that the city has hired for the project. Once they're completed, and it might have even happened this afternoon, to be honest with you, that information will be sent out to the USDA again for their approval. And you all remember what happened the last time. We have been assured that it'll take 30 to 60 days for them to review. Every Monday, Tracy, myself, and others in this room are part of an update conference call on the overall 9-item project that's happening throughout the flip process. So we're always updating everything. The USDA is aware of what's coming. They're looking at that. I believe Mr. Bilo is going to talk briefly on the financing package associated with this, and we will continue to work with the USDA to make sure that this happens in a timely fashion. Another item happening, the Special Olympics, as you know, their torch run always comes through Ottawa County. This year it will be on Thursday, June 13th. It's anticipated that sometime between 4:30 and 5 p.m. the vessels will enter the Portage River, dock at the public docks, and then the participants will gather and run from the docks to the Mom stage area for a meal provided by the police department and cooked by McCarthy's. This week is a busy week for our service department. Brush pickup started on Monday in the west end of county, or west end of the city, and will continue eastward. They'll make one final sweep at the end of the week. We also have the first of several Thursday car shows. The third Thursday car show is this week in the 200 block from 5 to 8 p.m. And of course, the festivities on the Mom Stage kick off Thursday evening, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they will continue through the summer, through September. Walleye Fest, believe it or not, is next week. That just seems crazy to me. All the festivities that will go on. 2 items that the Main Street wanted me to point out. The parade on Saturday for the Walleye Festival will be at 10 a.m. It'll start at IC, head north on Madison, hang a right on 2nd, a right on Jefferson, and end at Port Clinton High School. And then, of course, the more important parade on Monday for Memorial Day will also begin at 10 a.m., also start at Immaculate Conception, head north on Madison, hang a left on 2nd Street, and terminate at Veterans Park. Again, that's 10 a.m. on Saturday for the Walleye Festival Parade, and 10 a.m. on Monday for the Veterans Parade. If you'll note in your calendars, on May 20th at 10 a.m. at the Lake Erie Shores and Islands Welcome Center, there will be a ribbon cutting to commemorate the completion of the Route 53 corridor construction. Again, that's 10 a.m. on the 20th at the Lake Erie Shores and Islands Welcome Center for Route 53 completion. We've been informed by the governor's office that Fish Ohio Day, the governor will be in town on Monday, June 24th. And as I think everyone in this room is well aware that I get seasick in the bathtub, I will not be fishing with the governor. Luke Johnson from our service department will be the city's representative for that event. Weed Warriors, be on notice. There's been an initial mailing of high grass notices sent out to 8 to 10 Weed Warriors. There is another much larger list that Mrs. Ostheimer and Mr. Colson have been working on, getting ready to send that out. And again, the notice goes out, it's just once. They have 10 days to mow it. If it's not done in that time period, then city crews will take care of it and bill the property taxes. Just so you know, and again, I presume Weed Warriors aren't watching this on the internet, but if anyone asks, because of all of the things happening, Luke Johnson wanted to make it clear that they won't get to these lawns before Memorial Day weekend. There's just not enough time when you're trying to do all the other stuff around town. First Energy, Nick from First Energy, our government liaison, wanted us to be aware of a couple of things happening in the community. The first and foremost, if you may recall, in March of last year, March of 23, high winds took down the tall poles that run across the Portage River from the Jet Express dock over to Brands Marina. In addition to First Energy, there are 3 other subcontractors that were on those poles. Temporary poles went up. 2 of the 3 subcontractors have found other alternatives. In order to put permanent poles, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers had to get involved. First Energy just received the permit to put the long-term solution across the river. They have until the 2nd quarter of next year to complete that project. They have informed the city and interested parties in that area. They're not going to do the work until this fall to avoid any issues with summertime traffic. Also, I've mentioned this date already today, but on May 20th, First Energy will be doing work on the lights underneath the railroad trestle at Madison Street. It's anticipated that that work will take 3 days, and during the hours of work, that underpass will be closed to pedestrian and vehicle traffic. They did tell us that it will open up in the evenings, but if you're heading that way, find an alternative route during the daytime. And then finally, with regards to First Energy, Mrs. Ostheimer had made contact with First Energy. Mayfly lights will be going off starting next week. It'll be everything north of the railroad tracks from one side of the city to the other. Again, that will start next week. On a somewhat of a personal note, but it benefits the community as well, the J1 kids, the foreign workers have started to arrive. At the moment, I have 3 here in Port Clinton, and another one who is currently flying over the South China Sea from Bangkok to Incheon to JFK, JFK to Cleveland. She left at 2:15 our time this afternoon. I pick her up tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. So do the math, that's 28-ish hours of flying to come work here in Port Clinton. But altogether, in Port Clinton, Catawba, Marblehead, and South Bass Island, there'll be in excess of 550 exchange students, college-age kids working in the area. If you see them, please say hello, see them in the grocery store or whatnot. You may not see them at their place of business because a lot of times they're behind the scenes. They're all wonderful. They're coming from all over the world, 5 of the 7 continents. So it's fun to be part of this program. Just been fun. And finally, folks, 4th of July has always been a passion of mine. Approximately 19, 20 years ago, the group of citizens that had been doing it for I don't know how long decided that their group was going to disband, and myself and 5 or 6 other folks got together and said, hey, we want to see fireworks in the city of Port Clinton, so we picked up the torch and have been pretty successful trying to raise funds and put on an entire day's worth of festivities on July 4th. When I started this process, it was approximately $8,000 for a fireworks show. This year's show, the exact same show, same number of shells, is $18,000. We've tried a variety of fundraising efforts over the years. This year we had the idea of a reverse raffle at $100 a ticket. The goal was to sell 200 tickets. It did not go nearly as well as I had anticipated. At the moment, we have sold 8 tickets to 7 different people. I'm going to be contacting those individuals over the next couple of days to ask if they want their $100 back. If they do, that's great. It's certainly well within their right. But as it stands right now, we are somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,500 shy. I am anticipating a check from Port Clinton DECA in the amount of $1,500, so that $8,500 will get us right there. I'll be collecting the Bucks for Booms containers over the next couple of days to see where those stay. That usually brings in a couple $100. So my question to council, and I don't need an answer tonight, I've spoken with Mr. Belo and spoken to Mrs. Sardi, Mr. Colson, and so forth. Fireworks, and Mr. Morgan mentioned it before the meeting, fireworks and an independence celebration is very important to our community for a variety of different reasons, either personal or the tourism aspect or just for local civic pride. I'm coming to you hand in hand, not as the mayor, but as the chairman of the Port Clinton 4th of July Celebration Committee, asking if you will extend, you already contribute $2,000, ask for another $5. I'm going to approach the Chamber of Commerce in Main Street to see if they can pick up the additional costs, unless Ms. Phillips agrees to get her head shaved, and I'm sure I can find somebody to pitch in several $1,000s for that. Hoping that someone will step up to the table.
A couple of thousand, that's all.
You know, if you're willing to do it, we might be able to come up with somebody. You taught a lot of people in this community.
Just look around here.
He shaved his and it never came back.
Yeah. I think it might. For those of you that know, the $6,600 got this. I figure for that amount of money, it should stay for a couple of years, not just one haircut cycle. Besides,
Could you unshine it?
So again, talk amongst yourselves. I don't know if you want to throw it to a committee, Mrs. President, but I would ask for your consideration in that matter. With that, Mr. Trolley wanted me to call him with questions. So unless anybody else has any questions.
I have a question though, of what you spoke. The replacement poles on Lakeshore Drive, are they going to be on the south side of the street or the north side where they are now?
South side.
Good.
Yeah. Still working out the details on that, but that is the plan, to move to the south side for several reasons.
Does anyone else on council have a question?
Do you have any pictures from when there were great ice chunks out front?
Yeah. I have a
I'd
couple
like to
of
get a copy or two, because someone that I know who should know better. We used to live there and the ice never got up there. Yes, it did.
I'll send that to you tomorrow.
Oh, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll take care of that lady.
Thank you. Move on to the auditor's report, Mr. Belo.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, good evening. The mayor spoke about the financing for the road repavement project. There's a scenario where the city has the opportunity to, for once, move ahead on something before waiting for approval for USDA, so that's what we're exploring tomorrow with Bond Council. We've already preliminarily explored it. Bond Council at Squire Patton Boggs and our municipal advisor down in Columbus, that it's possible we could execute contracts for that before the end of this month, which would be great. which would save us about 40 to 60 days that we weren't originally planning for, which would be a great scenario for a variety of reasons, but to see the project kick off and break ground in a big way would be really important. So we'll report back as soon as we have something along those lines. Yeah. Also, is there anything else? Oh, on that one.
I was
Also,
agreeing with.
also before you in hard copy is stapled 2 pages of a proposed grant application for planning activities. The city of Port Clinton and the Park District of Ottawa County approached folks over in Sandusky, and there's a federal opportunity for about $1 million, $100,000 for planning, part of a larger pot that would do something I think is pretty special. I'm sure all of you are aware of the Sandusky Bay Pathway. The city of Sandusky is constructed across most, if not all, the length of their city. We think connectivity to that is important for a variety of reasons. The most obvious path to us is to fill in what was at one point the Old Bay Bridge, which when that was removed, that removed also vehicular traffic through Danbury into Bayview, the village of Bayview. Could there be a pedestrian crossing there that would restore that? So those 2 spits of land right now are maintained by ODNR, at least partially, on the Ottawa County side. So how do we navigate that, which would be a great engineering challenge, which will obviously cost more money to construct, but just figuring out preliminary engineering for that. Also connecting Sandusky further into Port Clinton, navigating Route 53, wherever the crossing is, heavy traffic there. And 163 and 53 is also a traffic scenario that would have to be navigated. But then approaching into the city, likely through 163, how do we get pedestrian access, say from this building to Kroger's and beyond, and all the great destinations in the rest of eastern Ottawa County, but then also reverse, attracting folks this way. So in there is a summary of what we're proposing. The city's volunteered, unless anyone vetoes it here, that we would be the lead applicant. That was Erie County's suggestion for competitive reasons. Partnering with cost share offered by the Greater Sandusky Partnership of $15,000, $10,000 in cost share offered by the Park District of Ottawa County, and our ask would be for council to endorse a resolution probably introduced at the next meeting, but approved in early June, ahead of the June 17th submission deadline for an additional cost share of $10,000 towards the planning effort, which would be about $135,000 engineering study essentially from the eastern border of Port Clinton here all the way to Bayview, and how to make that a safe and attractive new recreational facility that we don't have today. And just for fun, if you wanted to ride your bicycle from Danbury, from that point of land all the way to the other side, it's 50 miles if you want to have to go through Fremont and around the rest of Sandusky Bay. So we think it could be an elegant funding solution to a fun problem to solve. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those, but we think it's an exciting opportunity that could lead to great things.
Would like to point out Mr. Beal rode his bike to work today.
I did.
Bicycle.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Beal? Okay, move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Brenner.
Thank you very much. The bed tax collected year-to-date so far is $45,897.11. The dock tax is collected is $2,463.64. Also, our rental registrations have increased to $52,200.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Brenner? Okay, we'll move on to city staff reports. Chief Scott?
I have nothing, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Chrisman, you have anything?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Committee reports. Finance, Mrs. Hovis?
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Mr. Hovis not here. Safety Services, Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, Madam President. We have nothing this evening.
Okay. Economic and Community Development, Ms. Newman?
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to correspondence. Under correspondence, we have the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, J. Lou at the Island House LLC, 102 Madison Street, Port Clinton, Ohio, and Port Clinton Post number 113 of the American Legion Resolution. Does council wish to take any action as to the correspondence this evening?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move we waive our right to a hearing for the Ohio Division of Liquor Control J. Lewitt Island House application.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Any discussion or questions? Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, seconded by Mrs. Phillips to waive the hearing as to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, JLL, at the Island House LLC, 102 Madison Street, Fort Clinton. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
I do. Yes.
Thank you, motion carries a vote of 5-0. The hearing is hereby waived, and if the clerk would please process the paperwork. Thank you. Does council wish to take any further action as to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move for acceptance of the correspondence as listed here, including the two of them I see.
Yes, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. Hovis, to approve the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign? Okay, correspondence is hereby approved. We have no readings of ordinance and resolution. We move on to business from the floor. Ms. Hovis.
Nothing tonight, Madam President?
Ms. King?
Nothing tonight, but congratulations to the two police officers, and that was such a wonderful story. We have a great.
Mr. Morgan?
I have nothing, although I think it'd be really cool to ride along with that dog. Do you allow that? For us to ride along with that?
Without
For a ride along?
With a K, yeah, K9. I would be fun.
You'd have to sit in a cage, though.
I read a whole series of books about a female K9 officer. I have no idea if they're accurate. They were cool.
She does a good job, I'll tell you that.
Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, Madam President. I remember Robbie when he was in high school. I mean, I taught that class. I mean, it's like they keep coming. Right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, the second thing, we had the tour today, and I took the young man on the ride along, and I took him to places we don't normally go. We went through the whole back part of the cemetery, which belongs actually in the other county. I showed him where behind Bell Mills that you could actually go up above in order to get on the plane, or on the train, the urban field that was up there. Showed him where you had the old line between Marblehead and Toledo on 4th Street. We did all this fun stuff. He said, I didn't know you had all this stuff. And we spent the whole time, and it was just delightful. He enjoyed it, because I saw him when I left. He was talking to the people at his table. You know where we went? We went to the old schools, Taft Hill, which is also Portage Park, which not everybody knows. It was good. Had a good day. Can we do it again next year?
Yes.
I have 1 year left. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourned.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. King. A motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mrs. King. To adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you.